Now, also, we're on the scene in Wilmington, Delaware. That is where the president's son, Hunter Biden, his federal trial on gun charges is now underway. And that's where we begin this hour. Jury selection underway in Hunter Biden's trial. He's facing 3 felonies stemming from a 2018 firearm purchase. Prosecutors say that he lied on federal gun purchase forms and did not disclose that he was using drugs. An original deal with prosecutors fell through. Hunter Biden has pleaded not guilty and says he's being unfairly targeted by the Justice Department. Joining us now is Georgia criminal defense attorney Chandelle Summer. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. These gun charges stem back from 2018 when Hunter Biden says that he was using drugs at the time. He said that in his memoir, and he allegedly lied on this form. Just how often are these types of cases actually brought to trial?
These types of cases under 18 U.S.C. 922G are fairly common in that a lot of people purchase firearms and they're sort of delayed in purchasing them because they might fall into one of these categories. But actually lying on the application is not something that's considered a very serious crime, in my opinion. It happens probably quite often. It's because the question is so vague. It basically says, are you addicted to drugs, or are you an unlawful drug user? So addicted to drugs, I mean, is a very broad term. It could mean that you are addicted to legal drugs, or it could mean that you are a regular user of cannabis, which is legal in many different states. In fact, this statute is so vague that it has been struck down by the Fifth Circuit. And that case likely will present a challenge for the Supreme Court, since the Fifth Circuit has already determined that this statute doesn't apply to marijuana users. So I'm not sure that this conviction would stand up on appeal, even if he is convicted. And as you said, the evidence is very strong. He's admitted to being a drug user. Everyone knows that he wrote a book about it. They found cocaine residue on the gun pouch in his safe when they did a search warrant. And so the evidence is strong that he's a drug user. It's just a question of whether or not this kind of case will be upheld by the Supreme Court. Not to mention the fact that his father's president of the United States. Even if he's convicted, he could be pardoned. The sentence could be commuted. So I don't really see this as the same type of situation, for example, that former President Trump was in last week when he was convicted of 34 counts of
and that was a big... And we covered, and you joined us multiple times throughout former President Trump's criminal case. And one of the big questions for the jury was, well, everyone knows who Donald Trump is. How much does that come into play when it comes to President Biden and these jurors who once again are going to be questioned today? We'll have a seated jury. What are some of the questions they'll face as far as everyone knows the last name Biden because of the president?
Certainly. I think that the jurors will be questioned about their own drug usage, prior drug use. They'll probably be questioned about their political opinions, whether they have a bias resting on their mind. But keep in mind, this trial is being held in Delaware, and that's a small state, and the Biden family is very prominent in the state of Delaware. All of them have been involved in politics. So I think that what you'll see from the jury selection is just trying to sort of parcel out the people who have strong feelings against Hunter Biden, or who don't feel like they could be fair under the circumstances.
And as this case goes to trial, many people are probably trying to, he has a couple different legal happenings underway. When you look back to the plea deal that fell apart, how fair of a decision was it by the judge to throw out that decision and then get to the point today where he's actually in trial?
The judge made the decision based on the fact that the attorneys got into a little bit of a squabble about whether or not he would be given total immunity from all possible crimes that occurred at that time. And as you will recall, there were a lot of questions about his involvement with foreign governments and money that he had received from China and Ukraine. And the judge did not want to give him absolute immunity on all of those types of issues. So she rejected that language, which then caused the defense attorney to withdraw the plea. So in retrospect, it seems as though they maybe should have tried a little harder to work that out so that he didn't have to go to to trial on this. I think the timing of this trial is problematic for Hunter Biden because there's going to be so much comparison to the Trump trial last week. It's almost like a situation where there's one for you and one for me, and the country will continue to have this polarizing political climate, which is spilling over into the justice system.
What are some of the witnesses that you expect to hear from during this trial, and how could that impact Hunter Biden?
Well, what the prosecution has announced is that they intend to call several women who are familiar with Hunter Biden's drug use, including his former wife, one of the women whose baby that had a baby with Hunter Biden, and I believe his former sister-in-law with whom he was involved for some period of time. They're all supposed to testify as to his drug usage. But again, I don't think you'll see Hunter Biden testify. I don't think that he will get up on the stand and perjure himself or say anything which would suggest that he's lied on the application. It will really just be a question of, I think, trying to suggest that this charge is so general that it really could snag anyone who's used drugs at any point in their past. The judges already ruled that the jury does not have to find that Hunter Biden used drugs on a particular day that he filled out the application, but it's more general drug usage.
Our criminal defense attorney, Chandelle Summer, always great to have you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, let's go.